and I'm still on the US election theme, even though you don't want to accept that there's a relation between what happens in the US and what happens in Ghana. I think there is. It's a very strong correlation between US election outcomes and Ghanaian election outcomes. There's a strong similarity in the moods of the two countries. There's a strong situation even with the kind of duopoly we have. There's a lot of interesting things going on, and they have less than a week to vote now. And that election is really, really nail-biting finish. Good morning, Bernard. I'm very interested in the US election because of Kamala, who's a Rotarian. So my idea inside, what will happen in the US must not happen in Ghana. Well, there's a contrary view here. Yes, from Kingsley says, Bernard, I've been following the US elections very closely. I'm a MAGA fan. I don't approve of some of Trump's personality issues, but he's a better candidate for me for two reasons.
That's correct.
Brokering global peace.
Correct. 4 years, there was peace.
Let me just finish. I don't want to stimulate a new debate here. This is Kingsley's view, so let me just finish. He says he's a MAGA fan. He doesn't approve of some of his personal tactics.
Yes, that's true.
But he brokers global peace, and then he will slow down on LGBT indoctrination and pressure as part of US policy towards other countries. So Kingsley likes MAGA, and then the lady
I would not
likes...
The first one was a bit weird for me, but it's okay.
Anyway,
Well, some people actually have this view that when he was president, there were fewer conflicts. I'm not really sure.
That's true.
Is that true?
That's true. I mean, the records.
Maybe we can check it. I'm not
The
sure.
records show that. I mean, the records show that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's the truth.
So is he winning?
Oh yeah, I think he deserves.
But if he loses, will he accept it?
Why not? I mean, if the people of the US think otherwise, and
But you know, January. You know something funny, Sky? Do you know that January into January 7, when we were having our what do you even call it? Our parliamentary you know, when we were having our parliamentary things, that was the day, the same night that angry supporters entered the capital to attack it.
a truly unfortunate,
you know, and I was talking to Sandra about this. The similarities in the apart from 2020, where MPP won and a Democrat won, since 92 it's been NDC, Democrat, MPP, Republican. All right. Then you've had now a former president coming back from Ghana, a former president coming back from the US, contesting a vice president. All right. Then you have the Speaker of the House being from the opposition. Same for Ghana, same for the US. All right. Then you have, of course, there are a few other issues around the colors of the parties.
The economy.
So MPP being the umbrella with the red, white, and blue. The Republican being the umbrella as well. Center right, MPP, center left, NDC. Democrat, center left, Republican right. You know, it's very interesting. So for those who believe in the similar, and again, our system, even though there's a pure parliamentary system UK and a presidential system Ghana, hybrid system, our system mirrors more the US. If you take US and UK as two extremes, we are not a parliamentary. Our constituency is more tilted towards the presidential side. Of course, they are federal, we are not. We are a smaller country. But I think that for those who watch the US election to see where it goes, it's a very interesting. I don't think there's any other country in the world that aligns with US in that coincidence fashion. I mean, a near impregnable duopoly. You get it? So in many countries, a third party may stand a chance. In Africa, you don't even have two parties that strong. If you go to South Africa, look at what happened. They are like a mix of parties. Maybe Kenya, but Kenya, they are coalitions. So Kenya is not that close. Which country in Africa would you say has two equally powerful,
formidable
parties on the two sides of the political spectrum, winning elections equal number of times?
I don't know, maybe Nigeria.
No.
I don't they have APC.
No, Obi, look at what Obi did. So Nigeria now has 3-horse race. And think about Atiku was vice president of PDP. And now he's the candidate for... and Nigeria is not... Nigeria is not... In Ghana, it's almost impregnable, like the US. And I don't know whether it was by design or it was by coincidence. You know, because I don't know any African country where two political parties are equally strong. Because a lot of elections in African countries, generally, they are not as nail-biting Yes, oppositions do win, like Senegal. Opposition won in Senegal, but it wasn't because there were two strong parties, but they hadn't exchanged power for long. Diouf party had won for a long time. So this Senegal is more like it takes maybe 16 years to change. Okay. We are very unique, and sometimes, and this is a digression. I'll come back to the court. Sometimes, people say our democracy is choiceless and there are problems that. But Nathan will tell you there are a lot of African countries where oppositions don't even have a chance.
No.
There's no opposition,
No way.
and there's also no real contest. So
some are sponsored opposition.
Yeah. So look, I've spoken to even people from places like Uganda. A lot of them don't even have hope of changing government in their lifetime. Okay. Let's go across the continent. Togo, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire. There's a strong opposition, but even that, Cote d'Ivoire, you can say they have some semblance of opposition, but they don't do their policies like us. Then you go to Guinea, Mali, nothing's going on in those places. Chad. All right, then let's even go to Southern Africa. Botswana, fine, they have one party and they've handed over. They don't have our type.
Producing some interesting results.
Go to Zambia. Zambia, you can say a bit close.
They've had a number of tragedies.
Yes, but they've had opposition that in Zambia, opposition can win elections. Mm-hmm. So Zambia is a bit, because we are talking about liberal democracy that can guarantee a semblance of a fair election with a possibility of changing government. Many African countries don't have that. Let's look at Togo very closely. It's almost impossible, right? Maybe Benin. Benin has had
but even that, their context. I remember when Boni Yayi became president, their context was very different because they had a mix of people contested. So you had
it's an open field.
Open field. So not parties, but you had contestants or candidates.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Boni Yayi won, then he did this amalgamation.
Do they have a history of parties like the way Ghana has, where you have entrenched 3 decades of political tradition? You know what we call it, political tradition? Mm-hmm. Do they have that
not
type
necessarily.
of thing?
It's more personality than party, because there was the Kirikou era and then there was the Soglo era, right? So you had those two personalities dominating the political conversation. Not necessarily the parties existed, but you had this one person representing the regime, if you like.
How different is Kenya from us, Godfrey? You know a bit of Kenya. Is Kenya a proper democracy? Let me frame the question well. How different is Kenya's electoral democracy from ours?
Not very different. I think it's pretty similar. Very
rooted in history.
Very ethnic oriented.
Okay. Is it 2 or 3? How many parties?
Well, basically 2 strong ones, and they are very, very. It's basically the Luos versus the Kikuyus most of the time, unless somebody from the Rift Valley comes in or a Kalenjin and
then they change the balance.
Then it switches the balance a bit.
But you say personalities are stronger than parties.
Yes.
Because here it's almost impossible to leave a party to form a new party and for the party to compete.
I'm sitting down and I'm saying, King, look out to the next election for Aaron Moy,
who's from his father.
Yes, his son.
But they seem to have a dynastic system.
Yes, but
Kenyatta's son.
But Aaron seems to be very popular. He's been building himself up.
What I'm saying though is that in Ghana, okay, to be fair, Akufo-Addo is the son of a former president. So you can't really say that we don't have that in Ghana. But what I'm trying to say is that in Kenya, right, somebody can leave a party and form a party around himself.
Yes.
And people will go.
Yes.
But here, it's not good. It doesn't work.
Yeah, because that person, but in Kenya, the kind of person who will do that will be somebody who has significance with, and there will be very, very ethnic sentiments behind it. That's
my point. Here, the power is distributed. So if one man leaves a party, he may be very powerful, but the party will not follow him. He will go with a few people, but the party...
Maybe the right people
who have not done it yet.
No, we haven't empowered... No, think about it differently. You see, Kenyatta, Uhuru, wealthy, strong tradition, seen by, and then I'm simplifying things here, seen by Kikuyus as like their leader. All right, you take...
Baba Odinga.
Odinga is what...
He's a paramount chief. It's basically that contestant election.
I was at an event where Odinga was coming and he was in opposition. They were treating him like the president in terms of the protocol and everything. So what I'm trying to say is that if Odinga decides to form a party, he will have a certain percentage of Kenyans follow him. I'm not sure there are personalities in Ghana politics who can leave a party.
I think
the whole class of society will follow him that we are going to. No, it's not going to happen.
I'm sure it's just because
it's timing.
Yeah, I'm sure because we've not had the people who can. Of course, I
Carry
mean
that.
when Nkrumah decided to move, he moved with a huge chunk of, and
That
eventually
was,
wanted.
that was 19.
No, Jerry Rawlings, if he had
1948.
wanted to leave the NDC, I dare say that he would have
He fell,
had
out,
a huge.
he fell out with Mills a lot. You see, we have the history.
Yeah, but he did not form a party.
When he was in from 2000 to 2008, he had a lot of issues with NDC, but,
Yeah, but-
he didn't. The NDC.
Yeah, but he did not move. Of course, the wife formed a party, but he did not form a party. I'm saying that
If he had formed,
yeah, we would
would have
have
broken
tested
up-
your theory.
okay, yeah, right.
Of course, John Kufuor, with all his popularity,
So maybe we say our leaders don't do that.
no,
Yeah,
they
lawyer.
stick with what
so
they know.
the real leaders don't take that decision.
No, not at all. But good
So
or
we,
bad,
should,
they
we
stay in
shouldn't.
there.
So you're saying we shouldn't say our system is foolproof. It's just not been tested like that.
Yeah, that's right.
I was thinking that because of the way the country is divided and the way the parties coalesce around specific groups, it's very difficult to have one person have so much clout over the coalition.
No, it's just the person.
It may break up his party, but it will not be enough to win an election.
It's like Sky is saying, I agree with Sky here. The right person hasn't come along.
You sure?
Oh yes, it's always about. I've told you, it's always about the person.
Because I used to think, okay, then maybe I'm being Ghanaian exceptionalist. I used to think that we have a, maybe I'm like, oh, Ghana's democracy, there with some things we won't tolerate. You can go, that kind of thing.
Yes, there is that, but I'm also saying it's the right person.
Ah,
Yeah.
but do we have enough of the right people?
That's the question.
That's the
for
question.
So maybe you said
For the
Rawlings
ages.
was one, and he decided not to do it. All right, so we'll see. We'll see. Wow. So I'm just surprised that when you look across Africa, I mean, look at Cameroon. I mean, no. Like, guys, let's be honest. I mean, we're in 2024. I mean, Paul Biya was president when I was in like class 4. You know, like why?
Don't you know that there's a media ban? Why even discussing Paul Biya?
Okay, sorry. Okay.
There's a media ban on
Okay.
discussing Paul Biya's health.
Enforceable only within
Okay,
the jurisdiction.
okay.
We don't know.
They can show up.
They don't have any extraterritorial
See,
enforcement of.
I'm thinking of proper. Look, let's go to Rwanda that we talk about. The guy won election by 99% of the vote. That's
Maybe the people like him that
come
much.
on, come on.
Then they say the opposition is just there in name.
I mean, Sky. look. So apart from Kenya in the east, is Tanzania a proper democracy?
Oh, Tanzania.
Tanzania has its moments.
Do they have a strong opposition?
They've decimated the opposition, but they're still viable.
The thing is on will, and you go across Central Africa. If I want to take Africa, Central Africa is the poorest. So that's even DRC.
Which one are you discussing? Which government are you discussing?
DRC. You know? Then let's go to Congo Brazzaville itself. What are they doing?
They are trying to rebuild.
They're trying to,
themselves.
yeah.
Then when you take places like Chad, Idris Deby, Niger, Mali, Guinea. So even if Ghana develops, we have this.
We have a big problem.
So
You know
you
why
know
it's a
why
challenge,
you now
you
see
see,
why the US being very much interested in promoting democracy as the solution to the collective problems we face is imposing the kind of restrictions it's imposing. Because there is a fear that Ghana, which is a symbol for many, which we sell to many people across
if
the
Ghana
continent.
goes, everybody else goes.
Yeah, that's right.
No, if Ghana goes, everything is gone.
Everything is gone. So we need as much as possible to protect what we have. This is the only place that you can go and say whatever you want to say on radio.
But
and
it's
go
serious.
free.
Start from Senegal. Fine, they have opposition who's in government.
Yeah.
Gambia,
The Senegalese democracy, well,
It has gone through
it's
transition.
gone through proper transition. It was not
I dare say their system is as resilient as ours.
Yeah, that's right. Because you know that what's his name, Issa or whatever.
Yeah, try to even touching the constitution.
But you know that they
fidget with the constitution.
what helps them is that their politics is not based on ethnic lines. So that's one of the best things Senegal has. Where
Maybe not.
I'm telling you, as a matter of fact, Senegal doesn't have the ethnic fault lines of a lot of African countries where parties align around ethnic groups. So if you look at Sierra Leone, you look at Liberia and all these places that have had trouble, somehow people rally. So like Liberia, they will say we the indigenes versus the Americo-Liberians. People use that. Senegal, for some reason, I watched a very long documentary on the country. It's like, you are my brother. Yeah, they are all the same people. So that, in a sense, makes it impossible for the politicians to use.
Are they homogeneous like that?
not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
You
No,
have,
but
you have
they-
the
what-
warlords.
What I'm saying that they don't. It's not. It doesn't show up in politics.
Aha,
Not
yes.
exploited.
It's not shown up in politics. You see, because if you look at this whole Africa thing we are discussing, Ghana is probably is in the top 5 democracies in the continent, no doubt, as a functioning democracy with all our problems. And it tells you the poor quality of democracy in Africa.
Democratic infrastructure across the continent.
It's sad though.
Superstructure in many parts.
It is unbelievable. Let's go take a with that trend. I don't know. Guys, so if Ghana does well, we have to pull others along because Charlie, you need. You see, if you look at what's happening in Vietnam and Thailand, these are the spin-offs of Korea, China, Japan. There's always that sort of how do I even put it? What's the word to use? Give me a word. It's like you can't develop in isolation. But so if Ghana even starts to do well,
fulcrum.
We need to start asserting our influence in Gambia, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Anglophone before even a Francophone situation. It's a very tough situation we have. You know, you can't do that. You can't. You can't do that.
Who's going to tell your neighbor, the next door, the president next door?
But see, guys, listen. Our foreign minister is now a Commonwealth head. I think some of that was because of the clout of our president internationally, right? Now, what I'm trying to say is that Ghana still has stature in the sub-region, not military stature, but respect.
Oh, the military stature we have.
We have. Of course, Nigeria has more. Yeah. My point is that Ghana's leadership role within even Anglophone West Africa is clear.
Oh yeah, for that one.
Okay, if Ghana and Nigeria get their act together, they can actually pull the others along. And if you look at the stature of our president in the sub-region,
you see, that's why
his only classmate is the Cote d'Ivoire president.
You see, that's why we need to actually get it right to a large extent domestically.
Yes.
So that we can exert that influence
over the continent.
Yeah, but if we
over the sub-region first.
Over the sub-region. Yeah, because a lot of them look up to us.
Looking at you, what are you saying?
No, but what am I saying? I'm saying that we need to get our act together.
That's true.
So that we can play our leadership role effectively. Because places like Gambia, Liberia, Sierra Leone, they would obviously look up to Ghana. Somebody told me that when he was in Liberia working, the prize for the beauty queen was the ticket to Ghana. Can you imagine? Air ticket to Ghana as a prize.
The way they love Ghana.
And we are here, we are misbehaving.